It's the Cauldron of Fear. And now it is time to figure out what happens in the Cauldron of Fear, aka Book 9 of the Lone Wolf series. We're Lone Wolf, last of the Kai Master of Summerlawn, sole survivor of the massacre that destroyed your kinsmen during a bitter war with your age-old enemies, Darklord of Eljadad. We ended up meeting the Elder Magi of Desi, who ended up helping us in our quest to get a whole bunch of crystals of power known as the Lorestones of Nyxator, and now we've gotten 3 of them. So we probably should actually, resume the reading from where we are, because at that point we're just summing up what happened in the last 2 or 3 books. So previously in Lone Wolf, in Elzian, the capital of Desi, you were tutored in the histories of Magnamund and received lessons in lore that you will only have learned from Kai Masters if only they, like you, had survived the murderous Darklord attack on the Kai Monastery 11 years ago. You were eager to learn all that your tutor, Lord Rimoa, could teach you in preparation for the next stage of your quest, but grim news from the Darklands cut short your tuition. The Darklord city of Eljadad, a civil war had erupted following your defeat of Hakon, Archlord of the Black City. After 5 years, the battle for the throne of Eljadad had finally been won by a Darklord named Nag. The other Darklords, now united behind this new leader, were ordered to amass huge armies in preparation for the conquest of Magnamund. So swiftly did their Gyak legions grow in number that the Elder Magi ceased their counseling and arranged for you to begin at once the search for the 3rd Lorestone. Guided by Lord Paido, a warrior magician of Desi, you set off on a perilous journey across the free lands of Telestria, on your way to the jungle swamps of the Danarg. There, in an ancient temple that was once the Elder Magi's most sacred place of worship, you succeeded in discovering the object of your quest. However, during your escape from the Danarg, your guide, Lord Paido, was captured by Darklord agents, and upon your return to Elzian, you learned the fearful news that the Darklords were now waging open war throughout Magnamund. Several lands, after brief but futile resistance, has been overrun completely by Darkland armies. Others had surrendered without fighting in the face of their determined might, and sadly there were others who chose to betray former friends and allies by joining the Darklord cause, in the misguided hope that they will share in the spoils of victory, following the triumph of Darklord Nag. One such land was Vasagonia, a powerful desert realm to the north of Desi. Already your armies had invaded the neighboring cities of Cassiorn and Cloasia, and were preparing to march through the Republic of Enari in order to join Nagzor, now advancing across the plain of Slovia. The thought of such an eventuality filled the Elder Magi with dread, for the Lorestone you must find next lies deep below the streets of Tahou, the capital of Enari, and an ancient city built during the dawn of Magnamund. If Tahou were to fall before your arrival, the chances of you completing your quest successfully will be slim indeed, even for a warrior of your renowned skill and daring. Whilst preparation were being made for your journey, you learned that the Darklords had attacked and captured Ruanon, the southernmost province of your homeland of Summerland. The news of this calamity shook your resolve and filled you with the desire to forego your journey to Tahou and return home without delay. The Elder Magi implored you not to abandon your quest, and you face a difficult and crucial decision. Which should you honor? Your vow to complete the Magna Kai quest, or your oath of loyalty to your king, an oath which pledged your service in the defense of the Sun Realm. Fortunately, the surprise arrival of an old friend was to decide the matter for you. Mage Master Benadon, envoy of the Brotherhood of the Crystal Star, the Magicians Guild of Summerlawn, landed unexpectedly at Elzian aboard his flying ship Skyrider. He and his dwarven crew were warmly greeted. For Benadon, a frequent and favored visit to Desi, was highly respected by the Elder Magi for his mastery of new magic. 6 years had passed since last you met, and there was much you wished to discuss and remnants about, but there was an urgent matter of duty to perform first. Benadon had been sent by King Olnar and Summerlawn to deliver into your hand a royal missive concerning your quest. The scroll, written and sealed by the king himself, ordered you to pursue the Magnakai quest above all other duties. It ended with the words, Summerlund has suffered a grievous defeat at Ruanon, but the will of the people is undaunted and the strength of our army undiminished. Boldly we will resist our enemies so long as there's hope of the rebirth of the Kai. Benadon informed you that the king had ordered that he and his skyship be placed under your command. He also delivered the news that the king had bestowed upon you the rank of War Marshal of the Royal Estates. Proudly you accepted from Benadon 2 platinum badges, each crafted in the shape of a blazing sun, and affixed them to the collar of your Kai tunic. They signified that you were now a general of the Sumlending army, the youngest general there had ever been. The honor bestowed upon you lifted your spirits, and the news that Benadon will be joining your quest helped greatly to allay your fear of the dangers that lay ahead. For 2 years, Benadon had lived in Tahou as journey master to his guild. His knowledge of the city and of the Tahou Cauldron, the entrance to the ancient metropolis, which lies buried deep beneath the city street, will be especially useful. On the eve of your journey to Tahou, the Elder Magi convened a meeting of the High Council. A golden torch was lit and placed in the center of their great cylindrical council chamber as a symbol of their hopes and prayers for your success. This torch shall burn so long as you, Lone Wolf, pursue your destiny along the path of the Magnakai, said Lord Rimor, Speaker of the High Council. Before the gathering of elders, you reaffirm your vow to restore the Kai, and, as if kindled by a sudden gust of wind, the torch flared brightly, bathing the chamber in its vivid golden glow. As one, the elders rose from their seat and intoned their blessing.
May the god Ishir and Kai protect you in your journey into darkness, Koskab.
So, yeah, definitely a whole lot have happened. And also, I like that we're now a war marshal, even though we're not leading any army or anything. But, hey, we've reached the big leagues, kiddo. So, alright, before leaving the sea on your journey to the city of Tahou, we have a map of the Republic of Anari. I'm sorry, that was totally a logical mistake to do. Yeah, the Republic of Anari and surrounding lands. So, alright, at that point, yeah, we're all the way over there, and yeah, sadly, we're not 100% certain where we're starting from. Oh yeah, that's right. Later on, I think... Oh yeah, that's where we're gonna be starting from. It's like I'm spoiling the plot a little bit ahead, but hey, this is how it's gonna be. Oh yeah, also, before I even get carried into something else altogether, that's right, I almost forgot. This is also the first book of the series where we get a change into the drawer and everything. Before it was Gary Chalk who acted as an illustrator to the series. Now it's Brian Williams. So say hello to him, even though he did that like 1987? Yeah, 33 years ago. Yeah, it's been a while. So, alright, first of all, we get money. Now it's time to figure out how much money we're gonna have. Let's interact with our good old random number table. Okay, 3. In fact, do we even have any need for money? It's like I'm not even sure. I didn't even look. Oh, that's right. We're already stacked to the brim with cash. Got 35 gold crown and 15 crowns in loon, which is the currency of all of these good old places. At that point, yeah, fuck it. It's staying home in the courtesy of all of our people. So now, Elder Magi offer you a choice of equipment. You can take 5 items. So, first of all, okay, let's restock our arrows all the way up to 6. We already got a rope, so I don't think we really need to pick it up. We're gonna need a potion of Loam Spur for sure. 4 EP. Lantern, we don't need that. We already got a Fire Sphere of Kald in order to illuminate our path. A mace, we don't need any weapon. We've got a warhammer and a bow. That's all that we need in order to kick ass and chew bubblegum. After that, we probably shall take some meal. If anything, I'd say we might have to actually discard some of the sack of silvers that we ended up having because, yeah, in the last book we ended up raiding some miner's house and we stole a whole bunch of silver from him after killing him because he tried to ambush us with a pickaxe. So I'd say maybe, yeah, we'll keep 2 sacks of silver all the way back home. Sack of silver. And I don't know what we're gonna do with the silver box. I mean, who knows? Maybe it could be of use. We never know. But yeah, I'd say let's add ourselves a couple of meals to our bucket and everything. Yeah, fuck it. All right. We're full of food like a goldfish. And 3 fire seeds. At that point, we're kind of just stockpiling them beyond all oblivion, but it's not as if we have anything else in order to pick up, so... He stole it. I mean, they didn't really steal it. They mined it from the thing, so... Yeah, over under how many pages it takes for us to lose our backpack, who knows? We're gonna figure out after these messages. So, yeah, apart from that, I'd say before we begin, we probably should take a look at our character. Our combat skill has improved ever since because we have successfully completed the Lore Circle of the Spirit, which gives us 3 combat skill and 3 endurance points. The last discipline that we ended up mastering was Psy Surge. If we use it into combat, we can get 4 combat skill per round of combat, but every round we use it, we lose 2 endurance points, so we're gonna have to use this sparingly, or in fights where we're not gonna overpower from everything. Yeah, they stole from Earth. I mean, they didn't put a sticker on the silver telling that it belonged to the people. I don't know. But yeah, I'd say we're about ready to go. Whoops, that's right. Magnamund Wisdom. Your search for the Lorestone of Tahou will be fraught with danger. The Darklords have launched a massive invasion into the free lands of Magnamund in a bid to take over the continent and thwart your Magnamund quest. Make notes as you progress throughout the story. They will be of great help in this and future adventures. Many things that you will find will help you during your adventure. Some special items will be of use in future Lone Wolf adventures. Other may be red herrings of no real use at all, so be selective in what you decide to keep. Choose your disciplines with care for a wise choice. We can complete the quest no matter how weak our combat skill and endurance points are. Successful completion of previous Lone Wolf adventures, although an advantage is not essential for the completion of this Magnamund adventure. The future of Northern Magnamund now hinges on the success of this quest. May the spirit of your ancestor guide you on the path to the Magnamund. Good luck. A full moon lights the sky above Elzian on the evening you begin your journey to Tahou. Its ashen rays glimmer along the polished wooden outriggers that run the length of the hull of the Skyrider and illuminate the crystal star Hensing and the Sumlending flag it flutters proudly from the mizzen mast. The elders of the High Council have gathered on the roof of their council chamber, and as you and Benadon climb the boarding ladder to the skyship, you pause to return their farewell salute. Bozun Nolrim, senior member of Benadon's crew of dwarves, welcome you and his captain aboard. Surveying the craft, you notice that the Skyrider has changed very little since you were last aboard her, when you sailed from the desert skies of Vasagonia in search of the Book of the Magnamund. The crew remember that voyage fondly and are justly proud of the part they played in the success of that perilous mission. Take the helm, Bosun, and set a course for Nevesari, commands Benadon as he leads you across the busy deck to his cabin at the prow. Swiftly the light of Elzian vanishes as the Skyrider speeds into the night. A mile below, the jungle of Desi and the barren peaks of the Xulun mountain race past beneath the keel. But in the comforting warmth of Benadon's cabin, you feel no sensation of movement. Only the hum of the powerful engine indicates how rapidly you are traveling. Over a delicious meal of salt beef and spiced fruit, Benadon explains the purpose of your journey to Nevesari, a city that lies over 100 miles south of Tahou. Our enemies are advancing across Magnamund like a tidal wave, destroying or carrying with them all in their path, says the blonde-haired magician, pointing to a map of the continent that adorns the cabin wall. Every day a new battle is being fought, and every day we lose another town or village to the Darklords. Before we venture into Tahou, we must be sure that the city has not already fallen to Darklord Nag, lest we fly straight into a trap. I have many friends in Nevesari, reliable friends, friends who are highly placed in the Senate of Enari. From them we will learn if the city still stands, and if it does, how long we can expect it to resist the Dark Lord assault. Mid-morning of the following day, the lookout catches a glimpse of Nevesari as the Skyrider emerges from the Yajo Pass. Benadon takes control of the helm and steers the craft toward the east quarter of the city, landing it on the spacious roof of a magnificent star-shaped building that overlooks the river Cha. Cha-cha-cha. A group of dignitaries, resplendent in high-neck robes of green and yellow silk, greet your arrival. They are some of the friends of whom Benadon spoke. Sadly, they recount the grim course of events that have recently befallen their country. The far north, the city of Rizzo, was destroyed and its people massacred by an army of Gyaks. 2 days later, a similar attack was launched by a Vesagonian army against the town of Zilla. They swept along the Inari Pass, burning and looting every village through which they rode, and giving no quarter to those who dared resist them. And 3 days ago, on the western border, a fierce battle was fought at the Slovian town of Lufka for control of the bridge across the river Churdis. Shortly before midnight, the might of Dark Lord Nag's horde fell upon the beleaguered garrison. They fought bravely, but by the dawn of the following day, all that remained of the town and its defenders were an acre of scorched earth and a cart full of charred bone. The three enemy armies are now advancing toward Tahou. President Toltuda, the head of the state, has ordered the evacuation of all women and children from the capital and has begun strengthening the city's defenses to increase its chances of withstanding the impending siege. When Benadon tells you of your intention to go to Tahou, one of his friends offers a few words of caution. It will be unwise to attempt a landing at the capital, he warns. Heavy bolt throwers have been positioned on every rooftop and tower in case the city is attacked from the air. The Darklords captured Suantina in such a fashion, and the Taois have learned from their neighbors' misfortune. Skyships rarely visit Tahou, which makes it all the more likely that your craft will be mistaken for a hostile attacker. After a long deliberation, you and Benadon decide to leave the Skyrider in Nevesari and journey to Tahou by horse. Norim is left in charge of the craft and crew with instructions to wait here for your return. If Tahou is besieged and has not received word from you after 2 weeks, he's to return to Desi and report that your quest has failed. Early next morning, you and Benadon climb into the saddle of 2 white Anarian steeds provided by his friends with no name and set off on your 2-day ride to Tahou. Less than an hour after leaving Nevesari, you see a long line of wagons approaching. They are escorted by a troop of cavalry, and each one is crowded with women and children. So, first choice of the book, do we stop and question these people, or do we ride past and press on with our journey? It's time to choose. Alright, first vote is for questioning. Who these people? Alright, I'll see if anyone wants to offer any dissenting opinion, but so far, all signs point to talk to Deem. To Deem, yep. Hey, it's a Deem, it's the people! Hello! Alright, let's talk. The officer in charge of the mounted escort rides forward to meet you. He wears silvered and Aryan mail and a wing helmet embossed with the crest of Tahou. "Hail, Captain," says Benadon upon seeing his crown-shaped badge of rank. The man narrows his eyes and regards you both with suspicion. He's about to reach for his sword when a woman shouts from the leading wagon. "Benadon! Benadon, is that you?" Your companion recognizes the woman and returns her wave. "Lorta! By the stars! I had not expected to meet you here," he says in a surprised tone. The captain relaxes his guard and motions to the wagon to move on, anxious that his entourage is not delayed on the highway. "You can fall in with us or save your reunion till we reach Nevesari," he says, curtly, and rides on without waiting for a reply. "Lorta is the wife of Chiban, a famous Tahou's magician. He was my mentor when I lived and studied in this city," says Benadon. "Do we want Benadon to talk to this woman, or do we insist that we continue the journey without any delay?" Okay, talk. Okay, have a chinwag, talk, maybe they know something. Benadon rides alongside the crowded wagon and talks with Lorto as the procession continues on its way to Nevesari. After a few minutes' conversation, she hands him a scrap of parchment and they bid each other farewell. "They are the last of the evacuees," he said, "as you continue your ride north. They expect the enemy to reach Tahou in 2 days' time. They've already seen Gek scouts, and early this morning a squadron of Kran were sighted high in the western skies. She advised us to steer clear of a village called Sidara. It's rumored to have already fallen to the enemy. She also gave me this." Benadon hands you a script of parchment. It contains a few lines of an Aryan script, an address, and a signature. It's an invitation to stay at Chiban and Lorta's house in Tahou. It may be useful when we reach the city gate. Mark this invitation as a special item. If you already carry the maximum, you must discard one. Okay. So, what do we throw away? Because, yeah, unfortunately, or... Yeah, what the heck is this parchment? Oh yeah, that's right. That's the parchment that we got in Book 8, but it never really amounted to anything. We got it from killing a wizard on a boat. Like at that point, I'd say let's get rid of it in favor of the invitation. And let's continue. For 3 hours, you ride without pause or rest along the Tahou Highway. Oh yeah, what was the pass? Oh yeah, that pass was also in Book 8. It's also something we'll have to throw away as well. It's like next special item that we get, we're gonna throw it away. So yeah, for 3 hours, you ride without pause or rest along the Tahou Highway. On either side, the whispering grasses of the Anari Plains steer lazily in the thin breeze of morning. Villages are few, but wherever there are trees, you are sure to find a group of huts nearby. The highway descends along a ridge toward a copse of stunted trees, where a circle of simple dwellings have been built around a well. At your approach, a bell is sounded and several peasants appear, each holding a basket of assorted wares, which they urge you to buy. Do we examine the wares, or do we just continue without shopping? Sorry. The big hiccups are coming along.
Like you've been here forever.
Thank you, Blargunus Monk, for the sub. Thank you very much. Alright, let's say... I'll pretend that Wares Cracks is totally an invitation to go examine their wares, because come on. Who could say no to Wares? Let's say download illegally the new Assassin's Creed. Alright, let's check it out. The villagers swarm you around like hungry locusts, pleading with you to buy their humble goods. Most of the basket contain food with a greasy, off-putting smell and small earthenware flasks full of bozo, a pale yellow wine with a bouquet like sour milk. Those villagers that are too poor to offer any goods at all simply cup their hands and beg for money. For every gold crown you spend here, you can purchase 2 meals or 1 flask of bozo. Do we give the beggar some money, or do we remount our horse and continue? Oh yeah, what the hell? Gold crown! Yeah, what the heck? They messed up. Okay, alright, let's give him some money. I mean, at that point, we're not really in for any supplies. We don't need them, but fuck it. So, alright, deduct from your action crown however many gold crowns or loon you wish to give to the poor villagers. Okay, alright, I'd say... Oh, if you give them 3 gold crown or more, turn to 28. Okay, yeah. Alright. Look at my generosity overflowing. We'll give him 5 gold crown. Oh my god, we're not fucking around here. The wretched beggars are overjoyed at your generosity, and their grimy faces beam with delight as quickly they share out your coins. An old crone tugs at your sleeve and points with a crooked finger toward a small wooden hut set aside from the rest. She says it is the home of their shaman, the village holy man. She offers to take you to him to receive a blessing. So, do we go with the old woman, or do we decide to decline her offer and leave? Alright, go get Bliss Cursed. Get a blessing. Alright, why not? Let's go. With a bony fist, she raps loudly on the door of the hut. Inside, a croaky voice bids you enter, and she tugs at your sleeve impatiently, urging you into the foul-smelling hovel. Seated on a threadbare carpet and surrounded by what appears to be heaps of chicken bones is a scrawny old man dressed completely in feathers. He has a long pointed nose and a stubbly grey beard which grows to just below his beady, bloodshot eyes. The crone kneels and whispers in his ear before bowing and leaving the hut. As the door swings shut, the shaman scoops up a handful of bones, closes his eyes, and with a sound like a flock of startled gulls, casts them in the air. After a full minute of chanting and waving his hand, the old man opened his eye and looked down on the bone, which lies scattered on the beaten earth floor. "You have many enemies, Northlander," he says, his hook-like fingers tracing patterns around the bones. "Powerful enemies. They plot to prevent you from walking your chosen path, for that path will lead to their destruction. There is one who will tell you that he is a friend. You must not trust this one. There is treachery in his heart." There we go. Your blessings were brought to you by this guy. The old man closes his eyes and lowers his head, as if he's fallen suddenly into a deep trance. You try to awaken him, but he does not respond, and eventually you decide to take your leave. You feel unsettled by the encounter, but when you return to Benadon, you make light of the incident and suggest that you continue without further delay. As the hour of noon approaches, the rutted highway of khaki-colored earth rises gently toward a flat-top house near the horizon. Outside at the entrance is a three-leg stand erected over a fire made of Gorka's dung. A battered tin pot full of soup hangs from the crotch of the stand, and a group of farmhands stand in line waiting for the muddy liquid to boil. The smell of the fire is awful, and it has to be blown on ceaselessly to prevent it from going out. Close to the house is a dirt track which branches off the main highway and disappears to the west. A signpost, with its wood cracked and twisted, points along the track. It reads, "Tahou, 95 miles. Okay, do we have Petmanship? Yes, we do. That's among... yeah, that was our fourth discipline that we picked up. Immediately you sense that the signpost is pointing in the wrong direction. Tahou lies to the north, yet the signpost is pointing toward the river Churdes in the west. Do we ignore the signpost and just continue along the highway, or do we question the farmhand? Yeah, Batman shit. Okay, question, interrogate. Okay, question. Yeah, let's ask things. Asking things is fun. Like most southern Hanarian peasants, these farmhands are simple folk. They have heard nothing of the war in the north and know nothing about the Darkland armies that are poised to assault their capital. All that they are able to tell you is that a great many wagons carrying takas, or rich city folk, have traveled the road to Nevesari in the last 10 days. They will be happy to share their humble meal of corn soup with you, but the smell of their dung fire have destroyed your appetite, and you refuse their offer politely. Benadon, who've been talking with the owner of the house, returned to his horse and nods at the signpost. It's pointing the wrong way. A few days ago, one of the Takas wagon ran into it and nobody is bothered to fix it yet. With a wave, the farmhand bid you farewell as you herd your horses back on the highway. You're now hungry, and you must now eat a meal or lose 3 endurance points. Alright. I mean, they're not the committee of greeting for Tahou. They do whatever they want. 5 miles along the highway, you reach another junction where a cart track bears off to the west. A whitewashed stone marker at the side of the road says, Sidara, 5 miles. Do we follow the cart track to Sidara, or do we stay on the highway toward Tahou? I mean, AC/DC made a song about the matter. Highway Tahou! Yeah, where we're going in the long run, we're going to Tahou. That's our goal. Yeah, Tahouards! Alright. The afternoon passes swiftly as you ride across endless miles of treeless grassland. You stumble upon no village or hamlet and spend the hours listening to Benadon's account of recent events in Summerland and the Lastlands. 3 years have passed since you were last in the land of your birth, and you are hungry to hear all that have transpired since then. It is an hour past sunset, and night is drawing its black cloak around you when you see a flickering red light on the road ahead. It's the cops! Oh, whoops. Oh, never mind. It's the city of Chedi. A great fire roars in the heart of Guyuk's Tavern in Chedi, inviting the travel sort to stop and warm their weary bones. You decide to stay overnight, and as soon as you've stabled your horses, you enter the tavern to ask the price for a room. The tap room is surprisingly quiet. It is full of villagers and farmers, but they are a sullen crowd, content to sit in silence and brood over their glasses of Lovka, a strong Slovian rye spirit named after the town where it was first distilled. Guyuk, the tavern owner, greets you with a nervous nod on his shiny bald head and shows you to a table. There are no bars or counters in Anarian taverns. Instead, the customers sit at long banqueting table and wait for the owner and his staff to serve them. He smiles uneasily as he answers your inquiry about a room. A single room with a bed will be 12 loon each. So, do we have enough money to pay for a room? Yes, we have indeed 12 loon. Okay, alright, we might as well spend our loon, because at that point, why not? Guyuk gives you each a key to your room and offers you both a glass of Lovska on the house. Gratefully, you accept and down the warming liquor in one gulp. You notice that at the far end of your table, a man sits with his 2 young sons. They appear to be gambling with a group of plains farmers seated opposite, although you can see no money changing hand. Do we move along the table and sit to them? Do we talk to Goyuk? Or do we just order some food? Alright, gamble, gamble! Okay, sit next to them. Gamble away, alright. The father and the farmers are taking it in turn to ask each other riddles. In an area, it is forbidden to gamble for money on games of chance, but the wily Anarian get around the law by devious means. They gamble on being able to answer riddles correctly, which demands exercising skill rather than chance, and they wager goods and sometimes their services in place of money. By the time you join them, the father and his sons have amassed quite an assortment of valuable items, and the plains farmer are clearly anxious to win back some of their lost possession. Do we wish to join in and take an Anarian gamble, or do we change our mind and talk to the tavern owner or order a meal? Yep, you know what time it is. It's time for the half-eggs to be back. Alright, let's take it on. It is the father's turn to ask a riddle, but first you must decide on your stake. You can choose to gamble either a special item or 3 backpack items. If you should fail to answer the riddle correctly, you will forfeit the item or items you have staked. If you answer the riddle correctly, you will win the chance to pick any 2 items from the father's hoard of valuable. On your action chart, mark the item or items that you wish to stake. Oh, alright. Let's bet a pass. Alright, it's valuable, we swear. A hush descends as you wait for the riddle patiently. The father, whose name is Kumar, draws his dagger from its scabbard and lays it on the table. Then he rests his hand on the shoulder of his eldest son and says, "This dagger is now half as old as my son Loen was when his dagger was new. Loen is now 15 years old. How old is the dagger?" So, can you answer the riddle? If so, turn to the entry that is the same as the number. Also, as a bonus, I don't know what the answer is, so have fun. Okay, 5. Alright, that's the first answer that I got. We're going to see if anyone else has any ID, because remember, we only have one shot at this. Oh, my cheater Googling. Boo! Alright, you answered the riddle correctly, and Kumar displays his collection of valuable from which you may choose your winnings. You may take any of the articles listed, all of which are backpack items. A silver bowl, a vial of gold dust, altar cloth, scroll of honor, and jaden anklet. So, alright, at that point, what items do we take? I mean, we can take 1 item for free, but then what else are we gonna take? I don't know! It's like, I don't know, it's plain farmer stuff. I mean, it's been told that they just wanted to scam people away and everything, so yeah, a scroll of honor sounds plotty. Alright, let's take that. And what other item do we take? At that point, we'll have to maybe discard something in order to be able to, yeah, a scroll of honor is just a roll of toilet paper, but the plot! Yeah, we can just regenerate our hunger. Okay, so we can throw away a meal, but What are we gonna pick in order to replace the meal now? Okay, gold dust. Vial of gold dust. Since you've displayed your intelligence so effectively, the Planesformer are now reluctant to continue gambling. Kumar and his son gather up their winnings and bid you good night, and the farmer follows suit. Now, do we talk to the tavern owner, do we order a meal, or do we call it a day and retire to our room? Guy Face, the owner. Okay, talk to the owner. Alright, I guess we're talking to the owner. Guyuk is a nervous and jittery sort of man. He's afflicted with all manners of tic and twitches, and he's given to worrying about anything and everything. Recently, his condition has worsened, and in light of heavens in the north, it is not difficult to understand why. Oh, what's to become of us? Where would it all end? He mutters, wringing his pudgy hands and casting his eyes to the rafter. Every day for the last 2 weeks, wagons filled with women and children have been leaving Tahou for the south. Yet the Senate tells us that nothing is wrong, that we shall go about our business and not concern ourselves with city affair. Well, I, for one, am not fool. I tell you, they're keeping us in the dark about what's really happening, and I'm not going to wait around to suffer the consequences. I'm closing up and moving out at the end of the week, and if you two gentlemen will take some friendly advice, you'd be wise to do the same. Someone in the tavern is calling for more Lovka. Before you can question Guyuk further, he snatches up a bottle and scurries away to serve his thirsty customer. Do we order food or retire to our room? Okay, meal. Meal, food. These are 2 words of the English language, which may refer to stuff that you stick in your mouth to live. Okay, food. A serving girl ushers you into an adjoining room where smoke from an open charcoal fire spirals up to the roof, filling the air with its pungent aroma. You seat yourself at a round oak table, and the girl brings 2 plates loaded with broiled Gorka steak and roasted parsnip. 2 tankards of ale serve to wash down the feast, which Benadon, in a generous mood, pays for with 12 silverloon. Having satisfied your hunger and revived your strength, you may restore any endurance point you've lost so far. Hey, we lost none! Ha ha ha, we are the best. You bid Benadon good night and retire to your room. The room, which overlooks a courtyard and stable, is small yet surprisingly clear and comfortable. You sleep well, but you're rudely awoken at dawn by the clang of a brass handbell. Guyuk's wife is walking around the courtyard, ringing it for all she's worth. Daybreak! Daybreak! All awake! All awake! She cries, her voice only slightly less piercing than her bell. Quickly you wash and dress before gathering together your equipment and heading for the stables. Benadon is already there, having risen before dawn to prepare the horses. The sky is cloudless and the air is warm and still as you ride out of Shady. Open grasslands stretch before you, broken occasionally by the low, whitewashed farm buildings and peasant dwellings. It is noon when you arrive at a mass of standing stones that line the highway approaches to the village of Fee. Benadon recall a local legend that the Black Zakhan of Vasagonia once came to wage war on the defenseless inhabitant of Fee, who had no army. The besieged people offered up prayers to the goddess Ishir, who was sufficiently moved by their plight to cause the wicked Vasagonian to become petrified right where they stood, clad in full armor and clasping their weapons. It strikes you that the fiend may very soon have to pray for Ishir's help a second time. A mile beyond the village, you see a cloud of dust on the highway. Do we have Hunt Mastery? Yes, we do. And do we have reached the rank of Principalin? Yes, we did. In case you forgot what it does, what it means is it gives us telescopic vision. We can see as far as the eye can see, and better. Using your improved Kai Mastery, you focus on the distant dust cloud. It grows larger and sharper as your telescopic vision magnifies the image. You see a patrol of Anarian cavalry riding towards you, led by one who wears a crimson cloak. You count 20 lances, each of them bearing... Patmanship, I mean. Oh, Hunt Mastery, whoops, that's right. I thought it was Patmanship. Okay, I'm fucked. Okay, don't mind me. Okay, the dust cloud grows bigger and the rumble of hoof feet can now be heard drifting toward you across the open plain. 20 lightly armored riders approach, their lances bearing blue pennants embroidered with the arms of Tahou. Their faces stern and unsmiling beneath the peaks of their wing helmet. Their sergeant makes a signal and the horsemen change formation, drawing up into a circle that quickly closes around you. "State your business here," bellows the sergeant. "Why do you ride to Tahou?" At first you're suspicious of their identities, but your basic Kai Sixth Sense confirm that these men are genuine Hanarian rangers. Do we tell him the real reason why we're going to Tahou? Do we show him the invitation that we've got? Or do we demand what right they have to hinder our passage to the capital? Oh boy. Alright, it's time to choose. Okay, 2 votes for invitation, 1 vote for demanding to know what right they have to hinder our passage to the capital. Another vote for invitation. Yeah, I mean, they're 20, so... fight for your right to party by showing an invitation. Alright. The burly sergeant snatches the parchment from your hand and studies it carefully. Without raising his head, he asks how 2 Northlanders came to possess a personal invitation to one of Tahou's most respected households. When Benadon explains your meeting with Lorto and how he was once a student of Chiban, her husband, the sergeant somewhat reluctantly accepts your stories and returns the invitation. "Stay on the highway and make sure you reach Tahou by sunset," he says as he signals to his troop to let you pass. "Enemy scouts have been sighted in the hills south of the capital. If you're not inside the city wall by nightfall..." He draws his finger quickly across his throat. You thank him for his advice and watch as he and his troop wheel away and ride south. You pocket the invitation and glance apprehensively at Benadon before pressing on with your own journey north. It is a late afternoon when you see the Tahou Hill. They appear like a mirage on the horizon, shimmering beyond the haze that rises from the sun-baked plain. Without stopping for food or rest, you hurry across the hot grasslands and follow the highways that ascend toward the mouth of a pass. A stone watchtower guards the entrance to the hill, and a cluster of whitewash huts lies huddled around its base. Do we have Patmanship and reach the rank of tutelary? Okay, now this is the thing that we have. Patmanship is here, and we got tutelary. In case you forgot what it is, this grants us the ability to detect an ambush from several yards away. Your senses tingle with a premonition of danger. You are sure that the watchtower and hut conceal an enemy lying in ambush. You tell Benadon your fears and he looks ahead, his keen eyes narrowing, but the pass is dark with the gathering dusk and he cannot detect anything unusual about the settlement, except that it appears deserted. If we avoid the pass, we'll have to make a wide detour and rejoin the highway at a place deeper in the hills, he says, scanning the shadowy highlands. Even if we don't get lost, we'll be lucky to reach Tahou before nightfall. So do we avoid the settlement and make a wide detour, or do we gallop through the pass despite the risk of an ambush? But yeah, now there's about 30 Lone Wolf books. Alright, 1 vote for running the gauntlet. Whoops. Alright, hold on a second. Yep, sorry, Nightbot is a lawless individual, but he gets results. Alright, 1 vote for running the gauntlet and 1 for avoid. Whoever casts their vote next will decide on our fate. Yeah, hold on a second. I'm just gonna copy and paste the link myself. Oh. Oh, alright, there we go. Oh. Ah, okay, I was gonna say, finally we've reached a thing, but now it got settled into a tie again. So, alright, 2-2, we need another vote. Okay, alright, let's go through the ambush. You enter the pass side by side, galloping your white Tenarian steeds along the rubbish-strewn road that winds its way through the deserted settlement. As you pass the watchtower, a chilling howl rises from the shadows behind the hut. Then, like demons from a nightmare, a host of snarling gyak bursts into view, riding from their hiding places astride giant doom wolves. They thunder toward you on either side, shrieking and thrusting their spear at the darkening sky. Alright, pick a number. 8. The highway twists like a restless snake as you gallop headlong through the darkening Tahou hill. The unholy baying of the Doomwolf draws steadily closer as you fight desperately to keep your tired horse ahead of the ravenous pack. 3 miles from the Watchtower settlement, the fastest pack members draw level with you as you race along a dry water course. Their eyes and fangs glint evilly in the moonlight as they cut across your path, forcing you to stand and fight. The Doomwolf howl and their Gyak riders cackle with glee as they hurl themselves upon you. You lash out at a Greyskin rider, cleaving his grinning head in two, and swinging your arm back just in time to dispatch a Doomwolf that is leaping toward your face. All around you, the snarl and screech and press of body threaten to overwhelm your senses, but you're a Kai Master, and in the heat of battle, your nerve is high school. Grimly, you fight with a speed and skill that leaves a dozen dead in as many blows. But you do not fight alone. Benadon rears into view, flashes of flame spurting from his finger with a crack, like a whip, that echoes above the din of combat. Then another wave of wolf riders appear. They charge into the fray, driving a wedge between you and your companion. A black sword cuts the air less than a inch from your scalp, but you deal its wielder a fatal blow before he can strike a second time. He falls, yet his Doomwolf mount sleeps up and clings to your horse. It claws buried in the saddle leather, its foaming jaw snapping at your throat. You must dispatch this beast quickly before it drags you both to the ground. Alright, 18 combat skill, 26 endurance. If we have animal control, add 2 to your combat skill. I mean, I don't think we're really gonna need that, but hey, just in case that you wanted the fight to be even more uneven. So, combat ratio of 16. Yeah, 29 against 26. So, okay, it is time to draw ourselves some numbers like the Lotto. Okay. 8, and the enemy is instantly killed. We win in 1 round. The dead Doom Wolf drops heavily to the ground and your horse rears up on its hind legs, churning the air with its forehoof, which strike like steel hammers amid the remaining wolf riders. More than one ends its days with your horse hoof prints stamp upon its shattered skull. A gap appears and you see Benadon gallop past, his loose robe streaming out behind him like a pair of blue wings. You dig in your heels and urge your brave horse after him, fleeing the battleground as yet more of the wolf riders loom into view. The Wolf Riders give chase, but their pursuit is half-hearted and you've covered less than a mile when you hear the Gaks call of their hunt. They console themselves by hurling threats and vile curses at your back as you disappear swiftly into the dusk. The highway emerges from the hill at a village called Varta, situated on the edge of the Tahou Flats. The flats consist of fields of cultivated crops forming a fertile market garden 2 miles wide, which is farmed right up to the banks of the great moat that encircles the capital. Varta is deserted, its male inhabitants now shelter within the city wall, whilst the women and children have traveled south to the safety of Nevesari. As you leave the empty town and descend onto the flat, you catch your first awe-inspiring glimpse of the ancient city. Tahou, an ancient stronghold containing a vast city, is a formidable and wondrous sight in the moonlight. The imposing wall and towers of redstone and grey rock assume the softening sheen of velvet, and the city is often referred to as the Velvet Fortress. Beyond the tower and high curtain wall, you can see 1,000 spires and minaret, grouped as thickly as the trees of a forest. Tiny light twinkle in countless windows and portals, adding to the splendor of the mighty capital. Near to the city south gate, the highway is flanked by beacons which illuminate those who approach the gatehouse. A drawbridge spans a moat of black water, and as you ride across, a bell tolls from the portcullis archway ahead. "2 civilian riders at the south gate!" yells a soldierly voice. "Raise the postern!" shouts another. There's a clatter of chain and a scraping of stone. You watch the portcullis, expecting it to rise, but it does not move. Instead, a narrow portal opens at the base of the wall and an armored guard steps from the shadows. He motions you to enter and you follow Benadon along a corridor of stone leading to a secure enclosure. You glance upward to see the faces of 12 soldiers peering down at you from behind a parapet that encircles the high enclosure wall. All of them grasp loaded crossbows which they train on you as you move. Then a small gate creaks open and 2 guards appear, armed with broad-bladed spears. "Who are you?" one demands in a gruff tone. "Why do you seek entry to Tahou?" Alright, do we wish to show our invitation? Otherwise, do we tell the guards that we've come to offer our services in the defense of the city? Or do we say we intend to enter the Tahou Cauldron? Alright, show invitation. Alright, let's do this. The guards inspect the invitation, their expressions conveying their doubt that the signature it bears is genuine. They order you to dismount and one of them hurries off to summon the gatehouse commander. Fortunately, when he arrives, he recognizes Lorto's mark and allows you to leave the enclosure, although he impounds both your horses. You protest and demand that they be returned, but to no avail. "Orders of the Senate," says the commander offendedly. "An emergency decree. All horses belonging to the civil population must be delivered into the care of the garrison stable until the state of emergency is lifted." Reluctantly, you allow the guards to take your steeds, and as they're being led away, the commander hands you a piece of vellum stamped with a date and a number. "Receipts," he explains, his tone noticeably more friendly. You pocket your receipt, mark this as a special item. Because of its size, we do not need to delete another special item. Okay. So, yep. Our horses are impounded, and we're gonna need a good old ticket. At that point, yeah, fuck it. I'm just listing it there. So, receipt. In the likelihood we have to, oh. Okay, how do you make the text rap? Hey, I want to rap. I can't fucking rap. Okay, there we go. So, alright. You're about to walk away when he calls out, "Report to the Citadel first thing in the morning. You'll be located your battle position for when the enemy attack." Leaving your horses and the Southgate Tower behind, you enter a wide avenue flanked by workshops and houses, all built of red stone or rock sheeted in red plaster. The buildings themselves are small and densely packed, yet each one, no matter how humble, has a spire or tower that soars into the sky. The large, sleepy-eyed heads of stone dragons gaze down from the balconies of minaret, crowned either with bulbous, onion-shaped domes of copper, or with platform housing engines of war recently installed. Benadon points to a heating house and suggests that you stop there for some refreshment. Chiban's house is more than an hour's walk from here, and you're ravenous after your long ride. Do we enter the heating house, or do we ignore our rumbling stomach and continue our walk to Chiban's house? Okay, heating house, let's heat the house. You heat the house. Unfortunately, you chunk on rocks, and your digestive system can't handle it. You vomit all your entrail. The end. Alright, 2 votes for the heating house, 1 against. Let's see if any other voices wish to chime in on this. Okay, go eat. The heating house is crowded with soldiers. They sit at benches drawn up to long oak tables or sprawl around a log fire that crackles in a broad stone grate. Your entrance causes them to pause in their noisy conversation as they look you up and down. However, their curiosity is soon satisfied and they return to their feasting and boasting. "This way, gentlemen," beckons the owner, and leads you through the crowd to a table in the corner of the high-ceilinged room. Benadon hands him a clutch of silver loon, and the jolly red-cheeked man waddles away to fetch you food and ale. The soldiers are dressed in a variety of uniform, many of which you recognize to be the tunic of mercenary regiment from the Stormland. 2 of these soldiers of fortune share your table. They talk in hushed tone and cast nervous glances at another group of men sitting near the fire. Do we talk to the soldiers, or do we say nothing while we wait for our food? Okay, talk to them. Chinwag. Okay, mercenary always good for gossip. Okay, I get the memo. The men are plainly displeased that you have interrupted their conversation. One of them, a sallow-faced knave with dark eyes and curly black hair, snatches a jug from the table and takes a long swig. He slams it down and turns to his friend. "Did you know," he says, red wine squirting through his rotted teeth, "my brother Dane was killing Ragadorn last year. He was stabbed in the back by a lousy Northlander." Slowly he turns his head and stares coldly into your eyes. "I hate Northlanders. They're all cowardly, backstabbing scum." You notice his hand leave the jug and slip below the table. Do we tell him that we're sorry to what happened to his brother? Do we prepare for fighting in case he attacks us? Or do we just leave the heating house? Okay, offer condolences. Okay, let's be nice. For condolences, okay. I'd say that sounds about right. Alright. "Save your sympathy," he sneers, "'cause you're about to meet him face to face." Suddenly he lunges forward, a curved dagger gleaming in his hand. He flicks his wrist and the razor-sharp blade whips through an arc toward your throat. We have Hunt Mastery? No, we don't. So, alright, it's time to pick a number from the random number table. 8. In a split second, you counter his attack with a savage swipe that shears his arm off at the elbow. Arm and dagger falls to the table and the soldier collapses screaming to the floor. His comrade kicked back his bench and unsheaths as he fumbles for his sword. With a drunken yell, he unsheaths the blade and leaps forward in a reckless attack. So, alright, here's our opponent, and yeah, we can choose to avoid the combat at any moment if we want to. So that's an option that we can do just in the likelihood, but I'll assume until further notice that people want to fight. Also, whoops, I need to have this thing. I wasn't sure if I had that, okay. I mean, the combat ratio is already at its max, so yeah, I'd say this is not really any... Yeah, his skill is rubbish because he's pissed. Okay, so there's one vote for leaving him alone. So I'll say if anyone... Okay, it's not worth it. Okay, I'll say 2 votes for sparing him. Style on him with mind powers. Okay, I'll say style on him is let's kick his ass. So I'd say 2 on 1. I'll wait a little bit in order to see if there's any other people that are like, you know, just teach him a lesson and everything. Alright, finish him. Now the vote is tied. So whoever talks next is gonna offer the final decision. We can hand this miserable wretch really easily. Or we can evade, alright. But first, we gotta pick a number from the random number table because he tries to attack us as we're running away. 8, okay, he deals no damage. You give a hefty kick and send the bench whirling against the man's legs. He falls heavily, slamming his head against the table and knocking himself out. The watching crowd find this greatly amusing, and while they're helpless with laughter, you escape through the door and along the street. Soon, you arrive at a part of the city that Benadon remembers well. It borders a large public garden called the Rainbow Park, so named because of the vast number of rare and colorful flowers that grow there. The park is now an encampment for those who have answered the President's desperate call of defenders. Survivors from the town of Rezo and Zilov join forces with green-clad Daroga woodsmen, through a hill dweller from the Cha Mountain Valley and river folk from the Churdus, forming regiment to reinforce the Tahou garrison. Their battle-stained banner, lit by the flickering glow of 100 campfire, flutter above the tents that fill the great park. Opposite the entrance stand the Guild Hall of Tailors. You turn into an avenue running beside this imposing hall, and then cross into the North District by means of alleys and side street, and finally emerge at Leech Street, just opposite the house of Chiban the Magician. His is a grand building of polished red stone set with small diamond pane windows that twinkle like cat eyes in the moonlight. You pass beneath its arched gateway and climb the magnificent tile steps that lead to a black oak door. Benadon raps the knocker and you wait patiently for it to open. Minutes later, the great doors swing aside and the aristocratic figure of Chiban stands framed in the doorway. Keen-eyed and gray-haired, he welcomes you both with surprise and delight. Benadon! He exclaims, like a father reunited with a long-lost son. How good it is to see you! What brings you to Tahou at this darkest of hours? Have you come to offer your skills in the defense of our beleaguered city? My services are yours to command, my lord Chiban, answers Benadon, bowing respectfully to his former mentor. Yet also, I return to your esteemed household to seek your help at the behest of King Halnar of Summerland. May I introduce my companion, Lone Wolf? Chiban turns his kindly gaze on you and smiles knowingly. I am honored to meet you, Kylord, he says. I have knowledge of that which you seek, and I shall aid you all that I can in your search for it. He beckons you to enter and the door closes behind you, seemingly of its own accord. You follow Chiban to his study. The musty room is lined with massive wooden racks full of books and papers, as well as a spin of the joke wheel. At its center, a large circular table is completely covered with the implements of his magical researches. He clears a space amid the clutter and motions you to sit. You must both be famished after your journey here. Come, eat and enjoy! For a few seconds, a shimmering pool of light fills the space and then fades, leaving a sumptuous meal of grilled trout, baked potatoes, egg root, and sparkling Hanarian wine. If we lost any endurance points on this adventure, we may restore 3. We're still flawless! When you finish your meal, you talk at length about your journey from the sea and your quest for the Lorestone of Tahou. Chiban produces a map of the city, which he unfurls on the floor of his study, the only surface not cluttered with magical equipment. With his toe, he points to the location of the Tahou Cauldron. It is in the Square of the Dragons, in the west district of the city. The cauldron is a funnel-shaped hollow with a circular shaft at its base. The shaft descends to the ruin of the ancient city of Zaryx, 500 feet below the street of Tahou. Legend tells us that the Lorestone was thrown into the cauldron to prevent the Black Zakhan of Vasagonia from capturing it during the Great Cordame War. The shaft was closed up and has remained sealed for the past 360 years. He looks up from the map and you notice that his smiling features are now sad and composed. At dawn, the armies of Darklord Nag will be at the gate of the city, and the Battle of Tahou will have begun. My duty is here, in the defense of my beloved city. Otherwise, I will willingly accompany you on our search. There's only one man who can help you now, for he is the only one that can grant you access to the shaft that descends to Zaryx. He's President Toltudo of Anari. Come, I will arrange an audience with him immediately. With a casual wave of his hand, Chiban conjures up a quill and sheet of parchment. He begins to dictate the request for an audience, and the quill moves of its own accord as if guided by an invisible hand. The request, when completed, is then dispatched by messenger to the Anarium, the House of the Senate, where members of the Governing Council have gathered for an emergency assembly called for by the President himself. Within the hour, the messenger returns with a scroll bearing the presidential seal. "He has agreed to hear your plea, Lone Wolf," says the aged magician, his eyes blue-high scanning the official reply. Benadon congratulates you when you feel your spirits rise, but Chiban seems a little disappointed. "I was expecting a private audience," he says, "but in view of the current situation, I suppose it is the best we can hope for. You must appear before the Senate this evening and state your reasons for wishing to enter the Tahou Cauldron. They will consider your request and vote accordingly. If they grant their approval, only you may enter. If they forbid you entry, you may not appeal against it. Their decision will be final." He hands you the scroll and arranges for his personal coach to take you to the Anarium. As you climb into the passenger seat, he and Benadon wish you good luck. "I shall pray for your success," says Chiban. "And I shall pray that we are still alive to see your triumphant return, old friend," says Benadon as you exchange a farewell wave. The great flagstone precinct at the entrance of the Anarium is packed with hundreds of people. Senate officials, soldiers, and citizens crowd the steps that give access to the grand foyer and outer chambers of the hall. You notice that a side entrance is being used exclusively by army scouts who arrive with dispatches and leave with orders for the lookout hidden in the surrounding hills. You take a calculated gamble and order the carriage driver to draw up at the side entrance. This bold move pays off. Upon seeing your presidential scroll, not only do the guards allow you into the Anarium, but you're escorted to the appellant gallery inside the assembly hall itself. Yep, the insides of the Anarium, the Grand Council. President Toltudo occupies a seat in the center of the hall and presides over a heated discussion. From your seat in the gallery, you stare down at a oval hall, ringed by 12 arches beneath which the senators of Haneri sit upon their throne-like chairs of lacquered oak. President Toltudo occupies a seat in the center of the hall and presides over a heated discussion that is raging back and forth. Having heard all sides of the argument, he calls for a vote, and the issue is decided by a show of hand. We now come to a quite extraordinary matter, which have been raised by one of our most eminent citizens, says President Toltudo, introducing your appeal to the Senate. He turns to the gallery and calls out, Some lending lord, Lone Wolf, please make yourself known to the assembly. You rise from your seat and bow to the senators. Please present your request to us, Lone Wolf, says the president, and a hush descends on the hall as you explain the purpose of your journey to Tahou. When you have finished, the president calls upon the senators to speak. I say we shall help the sumlending, pipes the shrill voice of Senator Zaryx. If he finds the Lorestone, its power could turn the tide and save Tahou from the clutches of Darklord Nag. A murmur of agreement steers in the hall. And I say we shall refuse to open the cauldron, booms the powerful voice of Senator Chill. I say that if it were not for his presence in our city, we would be spared the attention of the Dark Lord. He is the object of their anger and spite. I say we shall give him to them, and in so doing we will save our city, our country, our people, and ourselves. A surge of support echoes from the arches, and your skin prickles at the thought of what could happen. President Toltudo calls for a vote to decide whether the Senate shall allow you to enter the Cauldron or use you to bargain for peace with the Darklords. Tensely, you await the result. The votes are cast and counted against this, and the Senate is split evenly. 6 votes for you, 6 votes against. The decision now rests with the President himself. He must cast the deciding vote. Pick a number from the random number table. Alright, 0. Standing beside the president's chair is a solid marble plinth with a bronze beacon, the Inarian symbol of law and order fixed to the top. The president moves his hand to the padded arm of his chair and presses a button. All eyes are on the beacon. There's a flash of ignition, and a jet of green flame roars upward toward the dome ceiling. The Senate votes to aid your quest, Lone Wolf, says Senator Zaryx. Come, we will escort you to the Square of the Dragons and make preparation for the Cauldron to be opened. The assembly is dissolved and the state coaches are summoned to take you and all the senators to the Tahou Cauldron. You share a carriage with the president, Senator Zaryx, and Senator Chill, who is anxious to apologize for opposing the majority vote. I trust you will forgive me, Lone Wolf, he says, unctuously. I merely proposed what I thought was best for my country. But now I realize I was wrong. You nod benignly in the hopes that he will cease his fawning. He smiles and turns to the president. Sir, I feel I must make amends for my misguided action in the Senate. If Lone Wolf is to enter the Cauldron tonight, surely it is our duty to ensure that he is adequately equipped. I propose that he visits one of my warehouses, where he is free to take anything he requires. The president agrees, and the carriage is redirected to a warehouse near the Square of the Dragons. Senator Chill has many business interests in the city and supplies much of the weaponry and armor that equips the army. His warehouse is full of supplies. You're encouraged to take whatever you need. From the vast store, you select the following: a rope, short sword, blanket, mace, bow, flask of water, 6 arrow, quiver, broadsword, lantern, dagger. Okay, I don't think we really need anything in there. We kinda have everything covered, unless that people say otherwise. I mean, why not? I mean, who knows? It could be like in our interest. Okay, but with that said, we're gonna have to throw something out in order to make a way for water. Like at that point, we might have to abandon Either one of the 2 items we got earlier, or silver box, or her sack of silver, in order to get water. It's like, oh my goodness. Okay, alright, toss more food. So, alright, flask of water. Alright, there we go. The meal is successfully being chucked. Alright, let's go. In addition to your supplies, Senator Chill provides the winch, ropes, and cradle by which you will be lowered in the shaft that descends to Zaryx. Upon your arrival at the Square of the Dragon, he supervises the assembly of these vital components while you stand with Senator Zaryx and stare in awe at the cauldron itself. In the glow of 100 lanterns, it takes on the appearance of a huge, steep-sided sink that is stoppered with a plug of stone. The key to this plug is a rod of coralinium that, until this evening, was kept locked in the vault of the Enarium. Now it rests in the hands of the President. Senator Chill signals that his work is complete and the President inserts the crystal rod into the plug of ancient stone. At first, nothing happens. Then you sense a vibration beneath your feet. Crackling tongues of pale blue fire lap the rim of the plug, and the hiss of escaping air breaks the seal of 3 centuries grime that hold the plug in place. Levers and ropes are brought into action, and slowly the great block is lifted, and the shaft to Zaryx uncovered. There will be troops... There will be troops posted here at the Cauldron, ready day and night to pull you up when you're ready to leave Zaryx, says Senator Zaryx, as he helps you into the cradle that will lower you into the shaft. Just give the rope 3 taut tugs. That is the signal. Senator Chill appears to tell you everything is prepared for your descent. Good luck, Lone Wolf. I hope that I will be there to welcome your safe and successful return, and that you will come to know me as a friend. The cradle rises and you're swung into position above the entrance. You stare down into the black abyss, your pulse quickening as a damp and icy wind whistles out of the shaft, carrying it with the cloying smell of decay. With a wave, you signal your readiness and you're slowly lowered in the void. Hold on, this song is not appropriate, I'd say. For the first few minutes of your descent, you can see the red stone walls encircling the cradle. Then a jagged rim of rock marks the end of the shaft, and you're plunged into total blackness. You can make out no walls or floor, and the shaft itself is just a small circle of gray in the darkness above. Alright, we have divination. Yep, it's our skill number 1. Deprived of your sight as you descend into the Stygian void, your Kai perception compensates by becoming more sensitive and more acute. An image forms in your mind of the event taking place around the cauldron. You see the winch and the face of the Senate guards, who are feeding the rope that supports your cradle. They are joined by another who have come to help with their task. He takes his place at the lip of the shaft and grips the rope, but hidden in his hand is a razor-sharp blade. Your throat tightens with fear as you picture the gloating face of Senator Chill. The rope shudders and instinctively grab the rim of the cradle as it jerks violently to one side. Your knuckles widen and cold sweat baits your brow. The cradle swings and twists wildly. Then a crack echoes into the darkness above as the rope snaps and you plunge headlong into the abyss. You fall like a stone into the whirling blackness. In desperation, you thrust out your arms, hoping to seize an outcrop or ledge, but there is nothing in the void for you to grasp. The freezing wind screams past your face and your senses are overwhelmed by the horror of your impending doom. Suddenly, an icy shock engulfs you as you strike the surface of a lake and plunge into its lightless depth. Stunned by the sudden impact and numbed by the icy water, you sink several fathoms before you can muster your strength and strike out for the surface. Pick a number from the random number table. If you have Nexus, add 4 to the number you've picked. So, yep, we have Nexus, and This is actually good for us because it means that the worst outcome is impossible for us to have. So, alright, let's pick a number. 3 plus 4 equals 7. The icy water clogs your nose and throat and numbs you to the bone. Desperately, you fight to control the panic gnawing at your insides as your hair starve long fill your chest with an agonizing pain. Do we possess Sabito? No, we don't. Although you cannot gauge how deep you are, you know that your strength is fading fast. If you are to avoid a watery death, you must shed some of your equipment. So alright, the moment of truth. Do we discard half the items in our backpack, or do we just drop it all together? Okay, one vote for half, another vote for half, half C's. Okay, try half, alright. There is no time to choose which equipment to keep and which to throw away. Count up the number of backpack items you possess, and if there's an odd number, erase the last one on the list. Okay. No, we have a full number. Divide the list in two, mark one with a H and the other one with a T. Okay. That point, yeah, the column on the left is going to be the odd numbered. Well, not the odd, but nah, actually, fuck it. Alright. On the left, 0 to 4. On the right, 5 to 9. So which side of our backpack is gonna go missing? 2. Okay, alright. We lost our rope, our loam spur potion, our flask of water, and our last meal. And now it's time to actually pick another number. If we have Nexus, add 4 to the number you pick. Now, yeah, we are safe unless that we roll a 0. Okay, 5 plus 4 equal 9. With half your equipment discarded, you're able to claw your way up through the black water. Finally, you reach the surface, coughing and gasping for air. At first, the incredible coldness stuns your senses, but now it revives them, spurring you to swim toward the distant shore that gleams faintly in the dim half-light. Aching and numb to the bone, you heave yourself out of the lake and collapse on the flat, spongy rocks that line the shore. Do we have divination? Yes. Gradually, as the feeling returns to your frozen limbs and your heart ceases to hammer in your chest, you feel bitterness and resentment welling up inside. You lift your face and give vent to an angry shout, cursing Senator Chill for his act of callous treachery that so nearly sealed your doom. Your voice travels through the dark toward a tiny speck that is the shaft of the Cauldron, 500 feet above, but none hear your cry. The sedate is convinced that you've perished in the fall and have ordered the plug to be lowered back in position. Helplessly, you stare into the void and watch, with fear and frustration, as the tiny speck flickers and then disappears. Your spirits sink as you contemplate your fate, for the only way you know of escaping from this gigantic underground grotto has now been sealed off. However, you're not completely without hope, for your senses detect a powerful presence. It is a feeling you've known before whenever you've been close to discovering a Lorestone, but never has the sensation been as strong as it is here, in this dark subterranean world. As your eyes become accustomed to the half-light, you look across the lake to see tiers of greystone rising out of the water. They are the step of a rising staircase which ascends to an arch of rock veined with glittering mineral. You skirt the edge of the lake and arrive at the foot of these steps to discover a cave-like hollow chiseled from the stone. You're exhausted and you must now eat a meal or lose 3 endurance points. Whoops, alright, we're going hungry. Alice, perfection could not be perfect. Rather than attempt to go on, you climb into the empty hollow and settle for sleep. You're awoken by a stench of decay. A gray-skinned being squatting on its haunches stare down at you with grim, inhuman eyes. Jewel trickles from its rag lip and the rusty sword it holds in its twisted, man-like hand is lifted to kill. Yeah. Yeah, Zaryx Ghoul, 19 combat skill, 27 endurance. Owing to the surprise of the attack, you cannot make use of a bow. If you don't have Hunt Mastery, subtract 3 points from your combat skill, and Summer Sword deals double damage. So, okay, at this point, our combat skill is 31. Okay, our combat skill ratio is still 11, so... And we also get to deal double damage, so... whoops. I am not booting up the things that actually matter. Okay, 5. Let's check out our good old combat table. 14 damage multiplied by 1, 28. Okay, we killed him in 1 hit, and we took 1 damage. Alright, do we win? Yes. Your killing blow knocks the ghoul out of the hollow, sending it tumbling into the lake. More of the corpse-like creatures can be seen creeping along the shore, and the sound of their snuffling whispers and curses will make your blood run cold. They move with unnatural speed, eager to feast on your flesh. Do we have a bow and wish to use it? Or do we wish to evade the ghoul by leaving the hollow and climbing the steps? Or do we just get a weapon and fight? Oh yeah, multiplied by 2. Okay, we have a bow and wish to use it. Twang your bow, run, shoot it with our sword. Or sword. For old time's sake. Yeah, so far, bow is winning it. Two votes for bow, 1 for hand weapon, and 1 for running. Oh, 2 votes for running. Okay, leg it. Okay, alright. I guess we try to escape. Oh, or not. Hand weapon. It's tied again. Yeah, right now, fighting with our sword or running away is the thing. Oh no, wait. No, wait. It's 1, 2, no, 3 votes for run. 2 for bow and 2 for weapon. Okay, so running away still wins. Okay, I am bad at counting. As you step from the hollow, a weight drops onto your back and drags you to your knee. Long, sharp fingers, as hard as steel, clamp around your throat, and the sound of gnashing fangs fill your ear. You twist and roll, hoping to break from the creature's grip, but its hold is unnaturally strong. So, alright. Reduce your combat skill by 3 points unless you have Hunt Mastery or Divination. And Summer Sword deals double damage. Alright. 29, and our combat ratio is still 11 or more. Oh no, it's a time fight with the Summer Sword. Oh, okay. 18 damage to the enemy and 3 damage to us. 18 and 3. Okay, and 7. Okay, 36 damage to the enemy. Bye-bye. Yeah, took 2 rounds. speed with which you slew your attacker strikes fear into the grisly hearts of the advancing ghouls. Slowly they slink away, their grey form merging with the shadows at the far side of the lake. You're about to hurry away from the hollow in case they should return with more of their kind, when you notice an odd-looking token lying next to the dead ghoul. Do we examine the token, or do we ignore it and leave this place? Examine. Yeah, examine. English is good today. Ignore and run away. Check it out. Okay, alright. 3 to 1. It is hexagonal in shape and made of a thin cream-colored metal, which is engraved with the number 6. Make a note of this number in the margin of your action chart, could prove to be useful. The metal begins to get hot and soon you can bend it with your fingers. Suddenly it bursts into flames, forcing you to fling it aside before it burns your hand. The flaming token hits the lake and explodes in a cloud of white powdery smoke. The echo of the explosion reverberates across the water, and you turn to leave straight away in case it attracts more ghoulish inhabitants. The climb to the arch at the top of the stairs is a slow and laborious one. Each step is as tall as a young tree, and the smooth black stone offers few handholds. Several hours slip by before you reach the summit. There you stare down through the great archway at a stupendous sight. Also, that poor tower is completely rotting away. The streets and buildings of an ancient civilization lie before you, disappearing into the gloom of a titanic chasm of immeasurable size. Ziggurats and towers, their carved wall crack and crumbling, lean at impossible angles, having sunk into the soil over the century. This is Zaryx, the legendary metropolis that was once home to a race fathered by Nyxator, the greatest of all dragons. It is the only city to have survived the age of chaos that followed the demise of their race. A wide avenue leads from the archway to enter the city at a place flanked by 2 massive statues of dragons sitting on their haunches with their stone-fanged mouth agape. You stop to rest here and you must now eat a meal or lose 3 more endurance points. Oh my goodness. I wish you still had you didn't throw all these apples away now. Although we will have lost them all in the water, so. You're about to set off into the city when you catch a glimpse of a shadowy figure moving furtively along the ruins of an edifice to the left. Have we completed the lore circle of the spirit? Would you look at that? It's the only one we completed so far. You sense an aura of psychic energy burning fiercely at the core of the moving shadow. The creature possesses a supernatural force of great destructive power. To approach it could be fatal, yet to ignore it could prove equally disastrous. Do we raise our size screen and approach the shadow, or do we hurry away and avoid it? Yep, alright. Approach with your mind power. Okay, alright. Let's see, that sounds about right. Let's go. As you draw closer, you can make out the gruesome features of the shadow. It is a ghoul, similar to those you encountered at the lake, but this creature looks even less human. Its swollen skull is set lopsided on its withered frame and its tongue drips with a sticky black venom. It raises a wasted hand and launches a whirl of mist toward your chest, but your psychic defense disperses this evil swirling cloud. The creature howls with frustration. Maniacally, it hurls itself at your throat, a pitted iron spike clenched in its fist. Psyghoul. Yeah, because of our mastery of psychic disciplines, add 2 points to your combat skill for the fight. I mean, it doesn't matter at that point, our combat ratio is 16. And Summer Sword doubles the damage, so alright. So, okay, it's time. Okay, 8. The monster instantly dies. Bye-bye. At last, the grisly creature surrenders to death and collapses at your feet. You sheath your weapon and kneel over its torn body, drawn by the sight of a ring on a finger of its right hand. It gleams incredibly, as though only minutes old, and the deep yellow stone that is set in the silvery metal glows with an eldritch light. If you wish to keep this psychic ring, mark it on your action chart as a special item. Alright, so what item do we throw away now? Ah, that's right. We can throw away the invitation. We used it for what it was worth, so yeah. Or nah, never mind. Actually, yeah, this time it's the pass. It's the pass that's going away this time. For countless hours, you follow the Great Avenue as it bisects the heart of Zaryx. The once grand buildings that line this ancient thoroughfare are in varying states of decay. Some are almost intact, while others have disintegrated into little more than piles of black rubble. You try to keep track of time, but it proves difficult in the perpetual half-light of this buried world. Twice you stop to sleep and eat before you near the center of the city. Alright, erase 2 meals from your action chart and lose 3 endurance points for each meal missed. Whoops. The lone wolf is hungry. There you discover a great hall, its arched porticos smooth and undamaged by time. As you pass through one of these massive arches, you notice a group of reptilian creatures huddled at the top of a staircase that descends into darkness. They are stroking a large leathery hag and speech to each other in a low-hissing language. Do we approach these creatures under cover of the pillars that line the hall? Do we call them out? Or do we use the bow? Yeah, cure the hunger away. Okay, 1 vote for... yeah, 2 votes for calling out. Oh, 2 for call out, 1 for the bow. 2 for the call, 1 for the money. Okay. Oh, snipe, blue sweet shoe, blue psych shoes. Okay, so now there's... okay, the voting, the winning option is calling them out. The reptilians hear you and fix you with frightened stares. They wrap their webbed hand across the leathery hag protectively and slink quickly down the hall. Quickly down the stairs. You run to the top of the staircase and peer down into the gloom, but you can see nothing in the darkness. Alright, we have a campfire sphere, lantern, torched in their box, yes. As your light flares into life, you notice an object lying on the step. It was dropped by one of the reptilians as it's made its hasty escape. It's an hexagonal-shaped piece of metal embossed with a numerical design. Have we seen one of these tokens before? Yes, about 5 minutes ago. With the experience of what happened when you last touched one of these strange tokens fresh in your mind, you avoid picking up this one. However, this does not stop you from looking at its intricate design. This token is engraved with a mathematical equation and you calculate the answer to be 320. Mark a note of this number in the margin of your action chart. Alright. Cautiously, you descend the staircase, expecting the unexpected. Your weapon held ready in case the reptilians attempt a surprise attack. The glow of your light washes over the black stone stair below and you freeze in your track when you notice a poorly concealed trap. Carefully, you step over the snare and continue toward the door at the bottom of the stairs. It is unlocked and slightly ajar. Do we have a mirror? No. So do we push open the door and continue? Or do we push open the door and flatten ourselves on the floor in case the reptilians have prepared an ambush? Alright, lie flat. Okay, one vote for continuing. Alright, kick in the door like a man. I'm kicking in the door like a monkey, and it's alright. Yeah, so far 2 votes to 1 for just pushing open the door and continuing. Do we have any dissenting opinion? I'll wait about 10 seconds. I mean, to be fair, the 10 seconds that I'm waiting is like 0 seconds for you. Sorry ahead. Sorry ahead. Yep, good English language ahead. Okay, alright. We push open the door and we continue. Pressing your shoulder to the door, you force it open and advance into the corridor beyond. But a shock awaits you. 2 reptilian nails at the end of the passage, supporting on their scaly shoulder a huge rod of metal, of crystal encircled with tubes and glowing with metallic buttons. Terror grips your heart as you see the rod becomes charged with a bolt of power that is aimed at your chest. Do we have the summer sword? Yes. You grip the sun sword in both hands and strike out at the bolt as it surges toward your chest. There's a terrific jolt and a splash of white sparks as the sword deflects the bolt, sending it screeching back along the corridor. It explodes among the reptilian with an ear-splitting crack, destroying them and their weapon and scattering their burning remains all over the wall and floor. You cover your face with your cloak and run, head down, through the billowing smoke and flame to a clearer section of the corridor beyond. Okay. You follow the corridor to a curved flight of alabaster stairs and descend them to a massive chamber. The floor is constructed of steely blue metal, drenched with silver, and... oh yeah, what the heck happened to the music? Okay. The floor is constructed of steely blue metal flecked with silver and 100 darkened archway line the walls. Directly ahead stand 2 gigantic doors of shaded platinum, engraved with patterns breathtaking in their intricacy. The chamber is deserted, but as you cross the floor and approach the door, you are acutely aware that any one of the arches could be hiding a legion of reptilians. In the center of the door, there is a lock that consists of 4 hexagonal buttons, arranged in the shape of a pyramid, with 1 button at the top and 3 buttons in a line below it. Every time you touch a button, a glowing number appears on its surface. Your basic Kai sense informs you that this is a combination lock. If you press each button several times until the correct numbers show up on all 4 buttons, the lock will release and the door will open. If you know the correct number to press for the top button and the correct 3-figure number for the bottom 3 button, add both numbers together and turn to the entry that has the same number as the total. Do you remember what are the numbers? Ah, okay. That's no fun if they're told as I'm currently trying to do a dramatic monologue. There's a software has the mechanism of the lock disengaged, but the door does not open.
You will need this key.
Okay, let's do it again. You will need... I don't know why this funny, stupid filter.
Alright. Get your fucking composure back already. Jeez. Okay, alright.
You will need this key.
The words sound in your head. You spin around to see a female reptilian, the leader of her kind. She moves toward you from an archway to your right, holding a rod of coralinium in her web hand. The glint of several eyes in the darkness of the other archers warn that she's not alone. Telepathically, she calls to you.
You are unlike the other man-things that have dared to enter Zaryx. What it is that you seek? Actually, yeah.
This is better this way. Do we tell her why we're here, or do we defend ourselves in the likelihood we're attacked? Yeah, I really set the mood. Okay, 2 vote for talking, and no, that's not the first female character in the series. Okay, speak. I seek the Lorestone of Tahou, you reply boldly. I am the Lord, Lone Wolf, and I quest for the wisdom of Nyxator, that I may vanquish the spawn of his enemies and save my people from destruction. Her harsh gaze softens as your proud words fill the chamber with resonant echoes. You sense a sadness within her, but she replies with words of joy that form in your mind.
Your quest will be fulfilled, as it was by your sire many centuries ago. We have waited long for your comings, Karn, and we will fulfill our duty to him who gave us life.
She opens a great platinum door and beckons you to follow her. You follow her along passages and sloping tunnels, down long flights of stairs and through magnificent chambers that no human eye has ever seen before. The alien splendor of this ancient city leaves you in awe of the race that once dwelt in these halls. For interminable hours you follow in her wake until you arrive at a circular chamber of rust red stone. And then finally, you go through the Burger King of the Cauldron of Fear and you get all your HP back. Okay, no. The floor descends in a series of wide steps that encircle the room, and in the middle of the tiers, a shallow pit with a stone dais at the center. I mean, Alien Chipmunk is the best me. At your approach, the die glows with a crimson light that pulses like a living heart. Shimmering waves of silvery radiance sweep the step in a chorus of voice, soft and sirenic echo throughout the upper reaches of the chamber. You surrender yourself to instinct and step onto the dais, cupping your hands before you and raising your face to the roof. A golden light pours out of the darkness, soaking you in its brilliance and filling your senses with a glowing warmth. A gasp of awe arises from the tiers, now crowded with reptilians. They are the Zaryx, the guardian of this city, the stewards of the Lorestone, who were placed here by the great god Kai. With joy and sorrow they have gathered to witness the fulfillment of their purpose, for your coming marks the end of their stewardship and the beginning of their demise. High above you, a shadow is taking form at the center of the golden light. It is dark and leathery, and shaped like an egg. Slowly it breaks and peels open to reveal a sparkling crystal sphere. It is the Lorestone of Tahou, the object of your quest. A warm tingling runs through your body as the Lorestone descends into your hands, and as you touch the crystal, your senses become charged with a new vitality that obliterates the fatigue of your ordeal and fills you with newfound wisdom and strength. Restore your endurance total to its total. There we go. Then a swirl of color engulfs your body and you feel yourself fall forward into the throat of a spinning vortex. The chamber dissolves and you begin to rise at an ever-increasing speed, as if you were falling upward. A surge of light makes you close your eyes, but it passes in an instant and you find yourself staring down at an incredible and terrible sight. You look upon the city of Tahou from the balcony of a tall tower, the spire of the Talis Temple, situated at the heart of the Rainbow Park. It is noon, but there's no brightness in this day, for a grey blanket of smoke covers the sky. Below you lies a shattered city, its once proud buildings now seething infernos, its streets and squares choked with rubble. Hasty defenses have been constructed where the city wall is holed or fallen, and the battlements to the north and east are covered with unburied dead. Beyond the wall, the flat lies shrouded in a mist that curls like the smoke of 1,000 campfires. Its thickness is unnatural and you sense at once that it has been conjured to hide the enemy. You leave the tower and make your own way through the burning street toward the West District, where the fighting at the wall is fiercest. You pass the smoldering ruins of the Anarium and take a fire-swept street that leads to the West Gate. A building at the end of the street is being used as a shelter for the wounded. The roof has caught fire and a handful of soldiers are trying desperately to evacuate the wounded before it collapses. Do we help them or do we continue toward the West Gate? Alright, hero time, help assist, alright. With the Lorestone, nothing can stop us now. The first floor is soon set ablaze as the wind whips the roof fire into a raging inferno. A soldier, his face and uniform completely blackened by soot, staggers down the stair and collapses into your arm. "Captain's up there," he croaks, his throat burned from inhaling the scorching air. "I went to save his brother just before the roof caught." Alright, we have the discipline of Nexus and have reached the rank of Principalin. Nexus and Principalin. In case you forgot, that gives us the ability to extinguish fires with the power of our mind. You focus your improved Kai mastery at the flames that engulf the top of the staircase. Within a few seconds, they flicker and die, allowing you to reach the first floor in safety. The captain is crouched over his brother, protecting him with his body from the fiery debris that is raining down from the roof. Swiftly, you pull him to his feet and motion him to help carry his wounded brother out of the house. As you reach the street below, the roof collapses and the whole of the first floor is swallowed by flame. "We owe you our lives," says the captain gratefully, as his men load his brother upon a open-backed wagon. "I must return to my command at the North Gate. Will you join me? I will be honored to fight by your side." Do we go with the captain to the North Gate, or do we decline his offer and continue toward the street toward the West Gate? Alright. Yeah, I think we were going to the West Gate in order to look for our friends. But yeah, to the north. The wagon races along the rubble-strewn street toward the tower, one of many that reinforce the city wall. Standing at the top of the tower is your companion, Benadon. You ask the captain to stop and let you speak to your old friend, but he refuses even to slow down. "I must reach the North Gate without delay!" he bellows and whips the horses to increase their speed. Do we have divination? Yes. You have a strong premonition that death will befall you if you stay on board the wagon. So do we heal our Kai sense and leap from the speeding wagon, or do we just shut off our premonition and stay on board? Okay, one vote for jump. Yeah, might as well jump. One vote for stay. Yeah, gotta jump, but it would be fun if you didn't. Yeah, just like the ID. It's like you're just being told, if you stay there, you will die. Ah, what could possibly go wrong? And then everything goes wrong. So, alright, we're probably gonna jump. By the way, if you stay on board, you indeed die, so it is the right call. You search the road ahead for somewhere soft to land, but the surface is strewn with sharp boulders. Pick a number from the random number table. If you have Hunt Mastery, had 3. Whoops, we don't have that. I mean, it can be worse than dying. Oh, 5. Essentially, a catapult boulder just lands on the chariot, killing both you and the captain instantly. That's what happens if you stay. You land heavily among the rock and debris, gashing open both knees and your chin before rolling to a halt at the base of the tower wall. Lose 4 endurance points. If you've survived the jump, you enter the tower. The high-end door to the tower is unlocked and you enter unopposed. At the top of a steep stone step, you find a ladder to a trapdoor. Quickly, you climb the ladder and emerge onto the roof. "By the gods!" exclaimed Benadon when you appear. "My prayers have been answered! You're alive, Lone Wolf! You are alive!" Tears of joy fill his eyes as he welcomes your return warmly. He and his mentor Chiban have been viewing the siege from this vantage point for the last 3 days. From this position, they control the movement of the few reserves allocated to the north and west city wall, using them to fill in the gaps where the enemy attack have weakened the defenses. Benadon recounts how the siege have progressed, how twice the enemy have broken into the city and been repelled by the determined defenders. Attack from the airs have set the city ablaze, but the enemy have lost great numbers of their flying cran, and now they are too weak to dare use the few that remain. The Enarium was destroyed in the first few hours of the siege, and many senators lost their life, including Senator Chill and President Toltudo. Good fucking asshole. Then he asks of your quest and is overjoyed to hear of its success. "The gods smile on you, Lone Wolf. So long as you live, there is hope for us all." I mean, we ate 4 meals while we were down here, or we were supposed to eat 4 times. Relentlessly, the enemy poured their fire upon the north and west city wall until the black sky above Tahou takes on a vivid scarlet glow. The defenders look to their weapons uneasily and pray that the gods are with them. At least until dawn. And when the first rays of dawn light show above the eastern hill, no mist enshroud the armies of Darklord Gnag. They are massed in all their glories, awaiting the order to attack. You cast your eye across the sea of doom and mark the many regiments of evil that are ranged against the walls of Tahou. The armored legions of Vasagonia are the first to advance, moving in ordered column toward the west gate. At their head walks a figure sheeted in gold around whom a cold blue fire glows intensely. He strides within range of the city archers and they send a cloud of arrows to greet him, but these shatter and crackle when they encounter his impregnable glowing shield. He crosses the siege bridge and halts before the west gate. In his hand is a orb of black metal. Yes! Black metal! I mean, he holds it before him and mouths an incantation. Instantly, a bolt of scarlet flame lances from the orb, destroying the great doors with a thunderous boom. Proudly he strides into the city and the defenders melt before him. One summons enough courage to attack him with a spear. There's a crackling flash and in an instant the soldier is transformed into a pile of glowing ash. Yeah, picture it here. He advances unchecked and undaunted by all attacks, for they cannot penetrate his magical shield. Only when he comes face to face with you does he stop. "I have come for you, Lone Wolf," he says, a cruel smile on his lips. You gaze into the ice cold eyes of Zakan Kiba, ruler of Vasagonia. As he raises his orb of black metal, you steel yourself for the battle that is about to commence. So, alright, we have the Summer Sword, let's do it. A bolt of scarlet fire surges from the orb and speeds toward your head. You counter the attack, but the bolt changes course in mid-flight, catching you off balance. A searing pain tears into your arm as it glances from your shoulder and explodes somewhere in the street behind. Lose 5 endurance points. Ouch. No, we killed the Dark Lord Akon in the Shadow of the Sand, but Yeah, the ruler himself of Vessagonia was left alone. We saw him briefly, but yeah, we never really did anything about him until now. The Zakan gloats over your pain and move forward to exploit his advantage. You grit your teeth and raise your sword to defend yourself against his attack. You're aware of the Zakan's troop fighting a desperate battle at the West Gate, and you know that you must defeat him, or the city will be lost. And yeah, look at these numbers. This guy is not fucking around. And hey, he's immune to Mind Blast and Psy Surge. So alright, our combat skill for this fight is gonna be 32, so -7. 22 endurance point against 46. So yep, everybody say a quick prayer for Lone Wolf. He's about to get fucked up. At least 7, that's a good start. He loses 5 endurance points, we lose 4. Ugh. Oh, 9! Take 7 damage, we take 2. Right, round 3. Okay, 8. 6 damage to the enemy, 3 damage to us. Like, oh my god, we totally will do with that Loam Spur potion. Oh fuck, 4. 4 -7, 2 damage to the enemy, 6 to us. Oh, 9. 7 damage to the enemy, 2 to us. Oh god. That said, we're kind of running out of time here. Unless that we literally get nothing but 9 and 0s, we are totally fucked. 6. 4 damage to the enemy, 5 damage to us. Rest in peace, Lone Wolf. You've been beheaded by an evil fucker. Oh, alright, we got nothing else to do but try again. So, okay, how much? 46. Alright. Oh, fuck, it was so close to. Alright, 14. Hold on, at the very least, I'll bring the chat over here for company's sake. Because right now, I'm not going to be able to see it at all. Okay, 6. 4 damage to 4 damage to oh no, it's 4 damage to the enemy, 5 to us. Like, I'm starting to doubt how heroic we are now. Oh, 0! Oh my! 8 damage to the enemy, no damage to us. Like, I'd say the immunity to Mind Blast and Psy Surge was absolutely not needed. Okay, now that we're low HP, this is when we're high rolling like a motherfucker. Okay, 5. 3 damage to the enemy, 5 to us. Oh, 2. 7 damage to us, no damage to us. Oh my goodness. The Zakan is le fucker, as we kindly say into these lands. It's like, it's essentially the fight against the Elgas, but even worse. 8. 6 damage to the enemy, 3 to us. And also, did we absolutely need the 5 damage before the fight too? It's like, I feel like that's an extra fuck you that we didn't need. Alright, 6 damage, 3 damage. Whoops. Oh, 4. 2 damage to the enemy, 6 to us. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not feeling very heroic right now. Okay, 7 damage, 5 damage to the enemy, 4 to us. Ah! At this point, I'm not even checking. Yeah, 6 damage, 1 damage to the enemy, 6 to us. The Zakon murdered us yet again. Oh, whoops. I put the ability counter to... Oh, thank you, Eisen, for the host. Thank you very much. Wait, did he still not learn how doors work? Because, oh my goodness. So welcome to the stream of Lone Wolf. We're busy having our ass kicked by Zakon Kimo, the ruler of Vesagonia. He's not fucking around. 3 damage to him, 5 to us. Okay, 6, 6, 6, 6. 4 damage to him, 5 to us. It's like at this point, however, I wish that we could sort of automatize the process. Okay, 8 damage to the enemy. Okay, 3. 1 damage to the enemy, 6 to us. Okay, and we're dead. 5. Oh, never mind. We have 1 HP. Alright. It's totally the time where we run absolutely nothing but zeros. That's essentially the only value that's not a debt to us. 9. Close but no cigar. We still die yet again. That's our 4 debt to Zakon Kimo. Whoops. No, if he has 400 endurance points, this is gonna go incredibly poorly. Alright, it's time for another we lose 8 points! 6, 4 damage to the enemy, 5 damage to us. It's like we need to run like super fucking high throughout the entire course of this, and this is such a fucking shitty unfair fight. 6 damage to us, 1 damage to he. Combat ratio is determined by what's the amount of combat skill that are differing between you and the enemy. Right now, we have a combat ratio, we have a combat skill of 32, and he has 39, so that leaves us at -7. Speaking of, okay, 9, okay, 7 damage to him, 2 to us. Okay, you know the drill, nothing but zeros, otherwise we die. Okay, we die. Death number 5 to Zakon Kimo. Yep, why indeed. Fuck this asshole, jeez. Thank you, GRK, for the bits. Yeah, because 34 right now, it's the combat ratio that we have as long as the enemy is not immune to Mind Blast. Sadly, he is, so we can't use it. Also, thank you, Carmen94, for the bits. But hey, at least we got a 9, so that means 7 damage to him, 2 damage to us. So far, that's the best opening assault we've ever had. Wait, the song is really freaking low volume.
It looks like like you've just subscribed.
Thank you, Grumpy Old Milk, for the sub. Thank you very much. So, what is it again? 6. 4 damage to him, 5 to us. Like, come on, 6 is rather high, and even then we still are on the losing side. Ah, fuck, 3. 1 damage to he, 6 to us. 7, what is 7? Okay, 5 to the enemy, 4 to us. Too bad. It started okay, but it's ending very poor. Oh. And we died again! Oh my goodness. It's like, and to say that some people actually, you know, if they die to one of these fights, they actually bother to actually, you know, restart the whole book as if they played poorly and everything. No, I'm sorry, this is garbage. And no, we cannot heal. We got no healing item. All that we got is a sack of silver, a silver box, a vial of gold dust, and a scroll of honor. So 2. Okay, we take 7 damage. He takes none. Yeah, the book says you can clear this with the lowest value, but I'd say this is one of the moments in... if I were GM, I'd let you weaponize the dust. Oh, alright, now it is he who takes 8 damage. It's like, this is a fight that's arduously harder to do with the Summer Sword than without. So 5, 3 damage to the enemy, 5 to us. Whoops. What have I done? I'm a frick. It's like, if this is your first book, ideally the way that you win it is... Oh. Okay, 7 damage to us. It's like, so far this is our worst fight somehow. Yeah, it's Dark Souls with RNG, and we die yet again, but we deal 6 damage, so see things on the bright side. He had 29 HP. Yeah, we might take it as a skill after this book, because, yeah... We definitely will do with improve odds. Oh, alright, there we go. The big roll begins. But the problem is that, hey, if we begin with a big roll, sadly, it doesn't continue this way. That's fucking evidence, dear. Fuck you, Sakan Kimo. You fucking burglar of turds. I don't know. Alright, 8 more damage to him. The problem is that if it goes back and forth this way, you know he's more... Oh my god! Okay, alright. Come on, this is it. This is totally it. This is the closest we've ever been. Oh my god! Alright. 7. Okay, what is 7? 5 damage to him, 4 damage to us. Alright, come on. Please let the rolls continue to be adequate. Mere adequacy can win this fight now. 8. 6 damage to Zakan Kimo, 3 to us. Okay, 6. What is 6? 6, 6, 6. 4 damage to him, 5 to us. We're left with 2 HP, but we beat the fucker! Woo-wee! Turn to 350, the paragraph of victory. At the very moment of his death, the shimmering web of energy that encasses the Zakan's body flares with a scarlet brilliance so intense that you're forced to avert your eyes for fear of it blinding you. The light surges and fades, leaving only a mound of glowing fragments that crumble and dissolve noisily until all that remains of the Zakan and the Orb of Death is the dark stain of the earth where they fell. Thank you, Bobby Zeal. Thank you very much for the bits. Thank you very much. Spurred on by your triumph, the Enarian defenders rally themselves and counterattack to secure the west gate. The Vesagonian who gain entry are either killed or forced back into the moat as the gate is quickly retaken. A cheer resounds from the city wall, a cheer that becomes a chant carrying word of Zakan Kimo's demise to the enemy beyond the moat, and gradually the advancing legions slow to a halt as their hope of an easy victory dies. Officers ride to and fro, cursing and threatening their men with all manners of punishment, but their morale is severely shaken. The ranks of armored warriors merely stand in shocked silence and refuse to advance. The sound of distant trumpets is heard, and all eyes turn to the south to see wave upon wave of mounted warriors emerging from the hills around Varta. They pour from every valley and pass to fill the southern flats with regiment of horsemen, resplendent in uniform of blue, white, and grey. "Our prayers have been answered," says Chiban, as he and Benadon rejoin you at the city wall. "Behold, the allies of Henry have come to aid us in our darkest tower." He points to the advancing cavalry, and you recognize, fluttering from their lances, the battle standards of 3 countries, Firalon, Lorden, and Kakush. Then the thunder of their horses' hoof fill the air, and a wave of joy surges through you as you witness their first charge devastate the enemy ranks, throwing them into chaos and confusion. A great battle ensues as the enemy slowly gather themselves to resist this unexpected assault. By noon, 2 of their armies have been smashed and routed, and the third fights a desperate rearguard action as it covers the chaotic retreat westward. At last, the fighting around the city comes to an end, and the defender give voice to their elation that their home has been saved from the hordes of Darklord Nag. Senator Zaryx proclaims you the savior of Tahou, and the victorious cheer of the citizens echo through the burning streets and across the flats that lie strewn with enemy dead. If any of your weapons or weapon-like special items were confiscated by the Southgate Guard, they are now gratefully returned to you. Because, by the way, if we ended up fighting the drunk mercenary into that bar, we would have been thrown in jail and all our weapons would have been confiscated. You gaze at this grim panorama and your blood runs cold. But it is not the sight of the carnage that grips you with fear. It is your growing awareness of a powerful evil that is taking shape above the west gate. A billowing black cloud forms in the sky, and forms out of this cloud there comes a harsh and terrible voice.
"I will be avenged."
It booms, its resonance shaking the battlements on which you stand. You steel yourself, half expecting a bolt of lightning to leap from the cloud and hurtle toward you, but no such attack materializes. Instead, the chilling voice continues in a mocking tone.
"Know this. You will pay for your defiance with your life. I, Gnag of Musgor, have the 3 remaining Lorestones that you seek, and I shall destroy them when I destroy you, Lord."
A gust of wind catches the cloud, and it clears swiftly, but it leaves behind a numbing dread that fills your heart, for you sense that the words were no idle threat. The terrible voice of Darklord Nag spoke the truth. Your quests have succeeded, for the wisdom and strength of the Lorestone of Tahou is now part of your body and spirit. I mean, Nag is a fly, so yeah, that's why it's having such a high pitch. And your defeat of Zakan Kimo has turned the tide of war decisively against the Darklord army. But the shocking news that the Darklords now possess the remaining Lorestones of Nyxator herald the start of a new and deadly perilous episode of the Magna Kai quest. If you have the courage of a true Kai master, the challenge of recovering the last Lorestones from the clutches of your mortal enemies await you, beginning in Book 10 of the Lone Wolf series, entitled The Dungeons of Torgar. Also, I'm not sure if I'm gonna play other game books. At this point, I'm playing them pretty much out of nostalgia because, hey, I played them as a kid, and now you shall too as well, because that's what I am, I guess. So, alright, before we call it quits, you know what time it is. It is time to boot up the next book in order to decide what exactly we're going to get in term of skill. First of all, okay, the book is there. So yeah, now we have a brand new book in order to play. And yeah, I played a couple of fighting fantasy books. I think I had like, in French, I had The Vault of the Vampire, Return to Fire Mountain or Fire Top Mountain, and The Legend of Zagor. So, alright, let's have a look at our disciplines as well, then the improved disciplines that we get now that we have achieved the rank of Master Mentora, Kai Master Mentora. So yeah, Weapon Mastery. Mentora's skill in weapon mastery are more accurate when using all missile weapons, whether fired or thrown. When using a bow or thrown weapon and instructed to pick a number from the random number table, add 2 to the number pick if you're a Mentora with the Magna Kai discipline. Curing. We now gain the ability to neutralize the effect of any poison, venom, and toxin that we come into contact. So yeah, with the Primate, we could delay the effect of poison, venom, of toxins. Now we can just cure them altogether. Penmanship, we're able to cross any kind of terrain on foot without leaving any tracks, even if the ground is covered in snow. Psy-Screen, we get the ability to protect ourselves from evil spirits and other non-corporeal beings that attack with psychic energy. Divination, we have the ability to detect psychic residues lingering in a place where a dramatic event, such as a battle, a murder, a ritual sacrifice, a ritual ceremony has taken place. By meditating at the scene of the incident, a Kai Mentora is able to visualize the event, even though it might have occurred in the distant past. But now, taking the spot of things that could be of use to us, let's have a look at our lore circle. Right now, if we pick animal control, we complete the Lorestone of Light, and therefore we gain a bonus of 3 extra hit points. But I'd say, given the fight that we get, I'd say another interesting choice will be Weapon Mastery, because it's gonna increase our ability furthermore for these very hard and impossible fights. But hey, you can also pick whatever the hell you want as well. There's Hunt Mastery, which is also missing, Invisibility, and what else? Okay, yeah, we're missing Animal Control, Invisibility, Hunt Mastery, and Weapon Mastery. Alright, so I guess Weapon Mastery it is then. Okay. So yeah, Weapon Mastery. Now it is time to choose the weapons that we've mastered. Since we have 7 Magna Kai disciplines, that also means we have mastered 7 of these weapons. So now, at this point, I almost will say, which of these 3 weapons do you think it's not important to master? At that point, I'd say sword and bow. We absolutely have to master them. It's like it's pretty much a given at this point. But what else are we gonna master? Like at that point, yeah, fuck it. Let's go with War Master, bow and sword. These are weapons that are essentially like, okay, it's a guaranteed mastery of them because yeah, bow, warhammer, sword, and at that point we can just pick whatever the fuck we want. So I'd say, I don't know, dagger, mace, spear, and quarterstaff, I guess. I don't know. So yeah, that leaves us to master broadsword, short sword, and axe. Now, whenever we fight with any of these other weapons, our combat skill will increase by 3, And whenever we use the bow, we're also gonna add 3 to the number that we pick. So therefore, we're gonna be a better bowman. Alright. Yeah, the boss was hard because of big number and also big bullshit. This is a boss that was just made hard because we had the Summer Sword. It's like, if we do otherwise, if anything, yeah, you know what, yeah, let's go back to the book, the other book, and I'm gonna show you the amplitude of the bullshit behind the fight that is Zakan Kima. So, alright. Whoops, no, that's the wrong thing. Hold on a sec. Whoops. Oh, thank you, Eisen the Broniac, for the fanfare. Thank you very much. And yeah, Summer Sword counts as a weapon mastery weapon. It's applied, you get the weapon mastery bonus as long as you pick sword, short sword, or broadsword. So, okay, now let's go back. Okay, we're back at the good old fight of Zakan Kima. So now, let's pretend that we do not have the Summer Sword. Yeah, a surge of scarlet energy leaps from the orb and rips into your arm, hurling you backward into the ground. Lose 5 endurance points. The Zakan laughs mockingly as he raises the orb once more, this time to finish you for good. You're aware of the Zakan's troop fighting a desperate battle at the West Gate, and you know you must defeat him, or else the city will be lost. So yeah, now we have brand new options available. We have a Psychic Ring and a Dagger of Vashno. We can use either of these, so alright. Let's actually pretend, yeah, alright. Let's use a... Yeah, there we go, let's use a Dagger of Vashno. The evil blade crackles and spit as you draw it from your belt. A flicker of fear in the Zakan's eye tells you that he recognizes the power, the weapon you wield, and know it has the power to penetrate its energy shield. So do we throw the dagger at him, or do we engage him in hand-to-hand combat? Alright, hand-to-hand. You are in combat with the Zakan of Vasagonia. You cannot evade this combat, and you must fight him to the death. So yeah, with that said, our combat skill lowers all the way down to 26 because we don't have the bonus of the Summer Sword, but hey, look at that! Combat skill 30. But with that said, we lose 2 more because he's immune to Mind Blast, so that puts us at a combat skill of 24. But hey, that still puts us at the -6. And let's see if this has any kind of effect. It does. We gain a whole row, we get through a whole column in terms of battle results, so therefore, the fight will definitely be easier, even though we don't have the super overpowered weapon. And yeah, he also has less health. Yeah, the encounter scales, but the problem is that in the end, it's kinda stacked against you, which is really fucking stupid, and I hate it. It's just like, what the hell? That point, okay, I'd say this is all of the combat skill without everything. But yeah, I'd say if we did the fight this way, we will probably have died about 3 or 4 less times. We had time to heal a little bit because there was way more chapters to go through before we had a fight. And hey, he has also less endurance, so hey, fuck you, that's what. But yeah, in case that you want to throw the dagger at him, you only have 1 chance to kill the Zakan before he releases another deadly bolt of energy from the Orb of Death. So yeah, if you have weapon mastery with dagger, add 3 to the result. If you've completed Lore Circle of Fire, add 1. So let's say that we're trying to use this way instead. Yeah, 8, there we go. It strikes the Zakan in the heart. You win. And we're gonna have a look at the final option that will be the one you do if you didn't get either the Summer Sword, or the Dagger of Vashna. There we go. The power of the ring greatly amplifies your psychic energy as you attack the Zakan. They disrupt his control over the Orb of Death and enable you to penetrate a shield with an ordinary weapon. Now he has 29 combat skill, and also because of the psychic ring, you have the ability to use Mind Blast or Psy Surge. So I'd say that probably leaves you with the easiest fight of the three. So yeah. Essentially, this fight is complete garbage and I hate it. It's a case where having the Summer Sword actually nerfs you and yeah, it sucks. So yeah, anyway, that'll be it for book number 9, The Cauldron of Fear. So yeah, I'd say we finally hit the book where bullshit starts happening, and be assured, there's gonna be more bullshit, because why not? Bullshit is fun. It rules all over our world, and that's the kind of stuff that we can all rally behind.